How's the team from a health standpoint? Who's available for Saturday?
Health standpoint, everybody's come through okay. They've all come through the internationals well. Liel ended up going and playing 75 minutes, I think it was, against France, played against Italy as well. Actually, I think he might have played a full game against France and then Italy. Carroll's come back. He didn't get back until this morning, nor did Tim. So yeah, they've all come back from internationals okay, and everybody else who's been in at the training ground has trained well and are fit.
I know you were concerned about Pep coming out of Montreal. No issues there?
No issues. He's come out okay. I was more worried about Liel, but he's come through that okay. But Pep's trained ever since. We had a scan on the hamstring and it's been pretty clear, so we're quite happy with that.
And you're not foreseeing any restrictions on Carroll and Tim since they were playing on Tuesday?
No, not really. Carroll probably, he's not training with us yet. Because he flew in this morning. Tim hasn't trained with us yet either, so they'll have 1 day prep for the DC game. But we won't be doing too much different.
In terms of how you go about looking at this match, obviously it means everything to the opposition, but for you guys, you've always talked about seeding really doesn't matter for us, it's more about momentum. How do you go about emphasizing that, hey, this is still the same motivator in front of us, we want to keep ourselves going toward the postseason?
Well, it's the last game of the regular season. We want to continue some momentum. I think we've got the best goals against record in the Eastern Conference. I want to continue that and win it in the Eastern Conference to have the least goals conceded against us. So, that's something for the players to hold on to.
How hypothetically, and again, this is more hypothetical than anything, but how do you feel about the way certain managers handle the last day if nothing necessarily changes that much between a manager and the opposition? It obviously handles it. You'll see some people, sometimes they'll rest players, et cetera, and so on. How much do you feel like a debt to the integrity of the match to try and
I think you have to do the best for your club. How you see fit. Our ambition is to go as far as we can in the playoffs and hopefully lift the MLS Cup. We've given ourselves that opportunity now by qualifying for the playoffs. So whatever we do is going to be with that goal of getting to as far as we can. So we'll do what you can best for your club. We can't judge what other clubs do because we don't know what the circumstances are, and that's what's always tough about commenting on other clubs. But we will do what we see fit for us.
Is there a matchup in the postseason you'd favour?
No, not at all. As I've said before, I think there's 4 different clubs we could play against at the moment. I don't mind. Whoever comes.
With the opportunity in front of you, you're still not locked into 6. You can move to 5.
Yeah, we can finish 5, 6 or 7th. That's the part of it. What we're in. What doesn't change is the fact that we're going to be away from home first game and at home for second game, and let's hope we don't need a third game.
When you look at the way that this team has played over the last 4, 3-0-1 in the last 4 matches, a little bit of a struggle coming out of the Leagues Cup break, but it seems like you guys have hit your stride. The week away, detriment to the momentum, or how are guys, because you were missing some guys for international duty, how are you guys able to continue to try to maintain that edge? Yeah,
it's going to be the same for everyone. I think there was only 1 game. Was it Columbus played against New England? Was it or something? I can't even remember who they played, but I know Columbus have played. So it's pretty much the same for everyone, and detriments, advantage, who knows. All we've tried to do is be consistent in what we do in terms of our training and our build up to this game, and we're going into this game all out to try and win.
Did you change anything up? How do you run training when you're missing guys that you're going to be counting on, obviously?
Yeah, we had a few players up from Legacy to train with us as well. Gave us an opportunity to look at them. They've got their game on Sunday as well, and we wish them well at Cincinnati. So yeah, our normal build up towards a game is as, and the players know me by now. They know the process, what we go through to get to a game by now. So it's gone okay so far.
Dean, on decision day, will you want to know what's happening around the league and games that matter to you, or will you just want to find out later?
Yeah, I couldn't care less what's going on anywhere else. It's a little bit different if, we need to win to get in the playoffs, or, or win to get a home side. And it's a little bit different. You want to know what's going on at other results. At the moment, it makes no odds to us. We can finish 5th, 6th, or 7th, and if we do, we'll be away first game. So nothing changes. So I don't need to know what's going on anywhere else.
If there's one thing that you could point to that impresses you the most about this club in your first year, what do you think it would be?
I think how far the club has come in such a short space of time. This is coming up to the end of the 3rd regular season, and the growth, the professionalism at the club, the developments, not just in players but in staff and how the club's moving forward, that's been really impressive, and obviously the fans as well.
Seeing Swiderski score goals, get some balls in the back of the net, what does that do for the whole team?
Yeah, first of all, for him, it gives him a big lift. I think he said publicly that he knew there was going to be a lot of question marks about when he returned. And up until the Miami game, he'd not scored from open play. He'd scored a couple of penalties, so it was nice, to deflect one in there. And he's gone from strength from that game. And he's looked the player that we know he can be, and that will give him an awful lot of confidence. But it will also give the team confidence as well.
Okay, and I kind of feel like as a manager, you have 2 pretty good weapons at striker. Do you feel like you've got a nice complementary group? Yeah,
we certainly have. We've Carroll and Patrick. They're both different players, but can both score goals as well. We saw Patrick came on against Chicago, and create one, score one. He came on last game in Montreal and scored a great goal in the last minute as well. Carroll's in a rich goal scoring form at the moment, and scored what I really liked, the first goal against Montreal, following in and getting one of them, what I call the sniffer's goal, the striker's goal. So it's really good to see, and it's a good place to be in.
Remember when you first came, you didn't really know Carroll that well, and he was out the door pretty quickly. From that point to now, what have you kind of learned about him? Yeah,
I was only here for a short time, and he'd expressed a desire to go and try Europe, which is everybody's prerogative. And I was quite happy for him to do that when he chose to do that. As I said before, I wanted players who wanted to be here, but he's shown a real desire to come back and to want to do well, to fit in with the other players. His work ethic, his application has been excellent, and we've enjoyed having him back.
And Christian Betanke has been tearing up the league. You guys managed to keep him out of the net. How do you approach a guy like that?
Yeah, we've got to do that again. Our players know about him. They've played against him already. We should have had a penalty in that game as well, where he caught the ball in his own penalty box, but we didn't get that. But I won't go back on old things. But yeah, listen, I know of him from his Premier League experiences at my old club at Aston Villa as well. Scored goals to take them to the FA Cup final, which they lost against Arsenal. I think Westy played with him as well. So a real top striker, and it's not surprised me that he's the top goal scorer in the league this year. Thank you.
They are a physical team. Among the teams who have the most fouls committed. How do you prepare your team for that and get them ready for something of that nature?
I don't think any of our lads are shrinking violets either, so we can give as good as we get.
The campaigns out there for Kahlina to potentially win goalkeeper of the year, how would you make the case to those who doubt his candidacy?
Because I don't see many more candidates out there. I don't. Hugo Lloris has come in, and I think he's got more clean sheets. But in terms of keeping our team in games, and from where we've come from as a club, to have the defensive record we've got, he's been a massive part in that.
How much did you know about Kahlina before you came here?
Not an awful lot. No, I'd obviously seen him play before, and watched lots of video of him. And he's continued to impress me. He keeps the ball out of the back of the net, and that's the number one aim for the goalkeeper.
guys talked about Carroll and his recent run of play. When you see a guy heating up like that, is that infectious to the rest of the guys up front? I mean, Kerwin and Patrick, and once they see it starting to go in for one guy, then that kind of lifts everybody up.
Well, he seems to have done that for us because it's not just Carroll. Liel started scoring. Patrick's been coming off the bench and scoring. Kerwin's came off the bench and scored as well. So yeah, it is infectious. And Pep Biel has scored and assisted as well. And it's one of them things that I feel that the players know they're on a good thing at the moment, and they want to keep that momentum going because we know in this game it can shift so quickly.
Gary has been kind of a little bit of a lost man these last few weeks. Is he someone who's still in your mind and want to get him in? Yeah,
no, he's definitely still in my mind. I mean, it's been difficult for him. Sometimes happens and it's no fault of his, but he comes out of the team and, we start winning games, and that's unfortunate for him, but he's still very much part of our squad.
All right, we'll move to Steve on the Zoom.
Hey there, Dean. Sorry, I was checking out some stats there.
It's all right. Woody was just doing some moonwalking then. He thought
I was just actually checking in just in where we stood and some of the scoring stats on that. Just a quick question about Patrick. With his development as a player, he's big and strong like a Benteke, but he doesn't have the seasoning yet on that. On a scale of where you think Patrick can be to where he is now, what would you rate that on a 1 to 10?
He's still a 6 at the moment, but he can certainly get up to a 10. He's got unbelievable potential. And the thing I like about Patrick is he's willing to learn, he wants to get better, and he's such a humble guy as well. So, he'll probably agree that he's a 6 out of 10 in most things, but in other things he can get up there to a 9 and 10.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years in, that's not bad. How would you have rated him when you first saw him, when you first came in?
I looked at him and thought, I wouldn't want to play against you. That's what I thought when I first saw him. I must admit, probably one of the first games I watched before I interviewed here was the playoff game in the Red Bull, and he came on a sub and scored a game in that, and you just thought, ooh, he's got some raw materials there. And we're helping him, sharpen up them raw materials, and he's getting better.
And who would you compare him to as far as other players you've seen and admired around the world?
I think I've spoken to him that he reminds me a little bit of Tammy Abraham that I had at Aston Villa for the season, who's gone from Roma to AC Milan now. He's you look at them, they've got the same height, and I keep telling Patrick to the beauty what I had with Tammy was Tammy would celebrate goals in training. He loved goal scoring that much. So just keep getting in that 6-yard box, keep throwing your long levers at them and the ball, and they go in. So yeah, he's he's only a short way into his career. Tammy broke in very quickly. I think he went on loan to a number of clubs and ended up going back to Chelsea from Villa and winning the Champions League with Chelsea. He's similar to him, but he needs to get some goals going to get his goal scoring record.
And he's been well scouted now after almost 2 seasons in the league, but he's still able to get by defenders. Do you think that's just his skill set, his touch on the ball, that it doesn't matter if you know what he's going to do, he can still
Yeah, I think he's been scouted well, but his skill set still allows him to get past people. I don't think he gets protected as well as he should do, and I've said that regularly. I think because of his height and his size, I think people can be a little bit more lenient on defenders when they in my opinion, foul him.
You think?
I would not disagree with that at all, but it seems like he's actually getting some calls, towards the past few games.
Hallelujah.
And just one last thing, when you have players like Carroll and Liel and others going on international duty, do you put in requests for minute restrictions or anything like that?
No, not at all. That's not my job. Once they get called up for the national team, that's entirely up to their national coach. What we will do is pass on information. If we've got any concerns about injuries or possible injuries, then we will pass them on, to their medical staff, or I will speak to the head coach if I need to.
Does anything stress you at all?
yeah. When I 3-putt at golf.
Okay, I'm good.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
Do you notice a difference in the way, I mean, you said he could be protective about it. Have you noticed a difference in the way that he might react to that when he's on the pitch?
Who, Patrick?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot more emotional control now. You think back to that game against Inter Miami when he got sent off for the reaction. I'd like to think with the emotional control he's got now, we wouldn't see that again. He may have learnt the dark arts of the game at times to help himself and protect himself a little bit better. If you want to call them the dark arts.